Dude, I'm surprised it's only a 6.6 on IMDb.
Bro, honestly, I gave up on IMDb. I
Yeah.
gave up. Like a lot of ratings make sense. A lot of ratings make sense, but some things I feel like they're just too harsh, dude. People just want to find anything to
Okay.
criticize.
Okay. You know what? I use Letterboxd. Have you ever heard of that?
You told me about it, yeah.
Yeah. You ever get to check it out or not yet?
No, not yet, not yet. You know what?
Oh, dude.
Let me do it after the stream. Remind me, please.
Yeah. Yeah, I will.
You're not the first one
It's
to tell me about it. I need to check it out for sure.
yeah, it's phenomenal. Guys, if you're movie watchers and you need an app to keep track of all your movies and you want to rate them and add your friends and see what they recommend for you to watch, I'm basically giving a free promo right now, but
They should,
Letterbox.
they should pay us.
Yeah,
Danny, bro's hair is majestic. Thank you, brother. First one to notice. I switched sides, man. Can't believe I'm saying that, but it's funny because my hair goes both ways, and it doesn't hurt when I switch from either left to right. If I go back, it hurts. I feel like the follicles or whatever it is, like there's some serious
brain.
pain. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's like
yeah,
I'm getting
yeah.
pinched.
Yeah, you should always like comb it with the flow. But double flow,
Double flow.
you're a lucky guy.
All right, I say we should start. No, we got 5 people watching on YouTube. We got Kick and Twitch. I don't think we're gonna get anyone there.
That's fine.
That's a 0 viewer
Well,
platform until at least like a year of streaming.
I'm sure we can get controversial enough.
I don't want to purposely get controversial just to make
I
it.
feel like that's what people do on those platforms, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like the controversy sells on those platforms. Whoever can be the edgiest and get closest to getting canceled or just do something that will blatantly get you canceled, that's how you win kick.
Yo, check your Discord message just real quick before we start.
Yep.
Got 5 on YouTube and then 4 on TikTok. I'm glad you guys are here. Are you not gonna do stream on IG? No, dude, not this week. Not this week. Next week. Just because I feel like people reached out to me. They were already confused on when I'm streaming and where. And then the times and all that. Even though I thought I was clear, but some people were confused. So I'll just keep it less confusing just for this week, and then I'll open the Instagram stream. All right, 7 people here. I think it's about time. Yo, Simon, you ready, bro?
Yep.
All right, all right. Well, welcome everyone. Kia, what's up, bro? Welcome to the stream, brother. And then welcome to everyone on TikTok. Thank you for being here. Today is a special topic Simon and I are quite interested in, which is focus in a world of distractions. Now, I don't know about you, but recently I feel like I've been tempted to just distract myself, get back to my comfort zones. The streaming thing, even though it's not big right now, but the potential of it, of being big at some point, is one scary thought. And then that with the potential of growing at work and other things too, gym progress and all that. A part of me understands how painful and how tiring the process is going to be, that it gets
Right.
discouraging sometimes, and I'm getting tempted to get distracted again. Now, that is thankfully being solved day by day just by simple prayer and then doing it regardless. But I know there are a lot of factors that come in when people get distracted and why they get distracted. My friend here,
100%.
Simon, thank you for being here, brother.
Thank you for having me.
Loves this topic and he's done some research on it, and I would love to hear it all from you.
Yeah.
How are you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you? Thank you for having me.
I'm glad to have you.
I just want to maybe do a disclaimer before we go into this. Since we are going to be talking about some, I guess, more medical things, just want to clarify we aren't medical professionals. Nothing that we're sharing should be considered medical advice. The discussion that we're going to have is going to be based on personal experiences, some research that we've done, and just general knowledge about the topics we're going to talk about. We are going to be touching upon ADHD, so if you have any concerns about ADHD or any other medical conditions, I do encourage you to consult a qualified healthcare professional. The podcast is for informational purposes only, and it does not constitute professional advice or treatment.
What's up?
Um, with that said, though, this is one of those topics I've been very interested in for a long time because I always feel like I've had a lot of trouble just focusing, whether it be at school, at work, and I remember when I was young at the parent-teacher interviews, it was constantly the same remarks from all my teachers, even though I got great marks. But they'd always say like he's constantly distracted and he's constantly distracting others, right? And I mean, this was an age before I even had a phone. We're talking about this behavior, since as far back as parent teacher interviews go, probably like grade one, I've been receiving. It was just the same thing again and again, and then we get home and my parents are all mad at me and same conversation again and again. It gets really tiring and definitely leaves an imprint on the memory. But yeah, but it just created this obsession in me and finding out like why can't I focus and what's going on.
No, I definitely can relate to that, bro. I remember a lot
And
of
I think many
scenarios.
can.
Oh yeah. It's a common thing, and unfortunately,
Yeah,
people sometimes force a diagnosis on themselves, thinking it's a medical
right,
thing.
right.
But I'm sure you're gonna
This
touch on
is
it, where we think that it's not really, it's something that you can control. It's not something that's really medical, or it's
right.
just a thought. It's just a thought, and we'll discuss that further later. So let's just first think and say, how does attention actually work? And why do we seem to lose it so quickly?
That's it's honestly a very profound question.
Yeah.
When uh, when I think about it, it's for me. I think it's my attention falls the way I think about it at least falls very much so within the medical definition where attention or focus is a cognitive and behavioral function. This is very important. Is that it's not only cognitive, but your behaviors influence your attention, and it's your basically your brain's ability to narrow and focus and hone in on a smaller stream of information versus the absolute plethora of information that's all around you, right? So it's basically you versus information. That's what focus is. And then when I want to focus on something, I have to focus on a small stream of information.
Hmm. So here's what I got when I searched on Google. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Attention refers to the cognitive process of selectively focusing on specific information while ignoring irrelevant distractions. It's a very general description. I mean, we know that there are a lot of factors that can disprove this statement or not, but generally, this is what attention is. And I got my 2 cents on it. I think focus, attention and focus,
Mm,
isn't about blocking distractions, okay? It's about choosing what deserves your attention. So if everything's important, then nothing really is in a way. If you're able to focus about on everything, then nothing really holds that much value. When focus is at play, that's when you realize some things are more valuable than others.
interesting.
Do you get what I'm trying to say here?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because here's the thing, I can sit down and scroll on TikTok or Instagram, right? And I can go for hours, but man, there are a lot of videos I skip when I scroll, right?
Right.
They don't hold value to me. I don't see the
Hmm.
benefit from it. And some things are just entertaining, but that entertainment just fades at some point and you're just bored. Compare that to the time when I'm actually shooting something with a camera, going to record something or working on a script, laser focused. It's something of high value to me, right?
Right.
So at the same time, when I'm studying or learning, well, not anymore. Back in the days when I was in like
School.
high school, I say that as if I'm like 45, bro. Back in the days, when I was in school, bro, there are some things that were genuinely not interesting to me. I'm like, this does not hold any value for me. I'm not gonna progress from this. Like some sciences, as interesting as they are, I know I'm not gonna use it later on, or at least
Right.
that's what I thought at that time. And it was so hard to focus,
Yeah.
so hard, dude. Taking notes felt like punishment at school. Like
Hmm.
I just wanted to get out of there. Compared to creative work, oh, I got no problem. I can spend hours on that. Super focused. So what I'm saying is there's value um, for the things that you can focus on 100%. And so when you are distracted, question the value of the thing you're trying to do or the thing that's in front of
Mm.
you.
Mm. This is there. Joe Rogan had a podcast with a doctor. His name is Gaber Mate. He wrote a book called Scattered Minds. It's an interesting book, but I didn't really read it fully. I kind of got a summary online of it and the main points because many people had a lot of things to actually say about it. I am interested in sometime picking up that book and reading it. And he goes basically along the lines to say that this selective focus trait, so this ability to selectively focus on things, and the reason you're hyper focused on things, he goes as far as to say that basically when you were younger, you the person would have experienced emotional hardships or emotional situations that they didn't necessarily want to be in, and so what they did in their brain was just shut off. And by doing that behavior again and again, they trained their brain to selectively focus. And the deeper the trauma goes, the deeper they honed in this skill of selective focus. And to the point where you can have someone screaming in your face and you don't hear a word they're saying. And whatever they're doing is not really impacting you because you have learned to shove those things aside, basically. And you've trained your brain to do so, which is why he says, like, in people that have, for instance, ADHD, they will they have a crazy ability to hyper focus whereby they could spend hours on something and for them it feels like minutes. So they in a way you could say it's easier for them to reach the so-called flow state that many talk about, because for them it's just a matter of the selective focus trait. And it's interesting. I think there's some validity to it, especially with more recent studies coming out talking about adults developing or a late onset of ADHD. There's a generally there's a lot for us to learn about how our focus works and how this attention works. But it's really interesting that you said that because it definitely I think rings true for
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people. Is
Mm-hmm.
and this is probably influenced by your childhood.
Right. So can you relate something from your own story? Like, what's the hardest thing for you to focus on, and why do you think that is?
Yeah, the hardest thing for me to focus on is mundane tasks.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I find no reward in doing just like simple daily tasks,
So then
right?
again, it's like we're putting value on certain things,
Right.
right? And
Absolutely.
how valuable it is, then you either focus or you just get
Yeah.
distracted, right?
It's amazing you're saying that because it, it's actually the way your focus works is directly linked to your dopamine system. It's
Mhm.
directly linked to the value and reward system in your brain,
Right.
and we can kind of get into that if you'd like to. I can like basically dopamine is your happiness molecule, right?
Hmm.
You can consider it like that, and it's different than serotonin. Okay, so dopamine is it's a quick hitter and it just makes you happy, right? Like it's very instant. And because of that, it can be addictive and it can cause greed. So that's why you'll see any drugs that play on your on dopamine basically. And this is funny. I've always thought, like, you know how people call some drugs dope.
Hmm.
I always thought it's because they're getting a hit of like dopamine, right? But
Right.
it turns out that they're not related, and but in my mind they'll always be related. But it turns out that's not the case. But um, so basically, dopamine is just it's a hormone and a neurotransmitter, so both, and it helps us stay motivated and push ourselves towards goals. It's not just about feeling happy though. When we get rewards, it also gives you the energy to work towards them. Like whether it's like a big task or something small that you're doing, it it's what's basically driving you, right?
Right.
And what we see with people who can't focus or who have trouble staying focused is there's something wrong with their dopamine.
Hmm.
There's chemical imbalances basically that are hindering their ability to focus. Now, that's not to say that anytime someone can't pay attention, it's because of their dopamine system is messed up. But actually, what we're going to see into the future is that that's going to be the case for a majority of the people. And that's just because of all the stimulus that's around us.
Right. So a lot of it then is can be understood from medical side, right? And then science and all that. But do you think people can lose focus because of their just simply their mindset, the way they're thinking?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Because the treatment, it's amazing. You're touching on all the points of it, like just with basically like without, you don't need, it just goes to show you don't really need scientific understanding of the issue to deal with it, because as humans we've actually dealt with these problems for a long time, and the way you think does influence you. Like it's basically placebo. You could play tricks on yourself, you know.
Right.
Placebo effect is something like I've just heard the saying, but it's like placebo effect is 50% of medication, right? You take medication, tells you you're going to get good. Guess what your body starts doing once you take it? Starts getting better, because it's like I've taken something that's going to make me better. I've always wished someone would just give me some like sugar pills and just be like, dude, these are the best magical drugs, and they will cure all your focus, and just convincingly said that to me, and I'd have been like, yes, please, thank you, thank you for these, just so I like just to have that placebo because it's so strong.
Dude, I really wanna. I can't think of a time where I actually like felt the placebo effect. I'm
Really?
trying to think very hard. I was gonna just say something random, be like, you know what? Taking creatine might have not done the
Yeah.
job. It might have been just the work. But again, there's so
Okay.
much scientific research, and I do see the difference. Once you take creatine, you feel like this water
Right.
retention, or you look fuller when you take it. So
Well,
I know
placebo
that's not
could be
placebo.
positive or negative. So, is there any time where you've had a negative placebo effect?
I can't think of something. Wow, that's
Like, I'll tell you,
crazy.
it happens in
I really
children a
want to
lot.
feel it. Like I want to be surprised later on. Like the doctor comes in, like, you know what? Actually, I gave you nothing. It's just whatever. You got healed from nothing. That'd be crazy.
Dude,
That'd be
there's
mind
many
blowing.
cases of that. There's many cases of that
I want
where
to
it's
look that
like,
up. What are some
yeah,
cases that we can find right now on Google? Actually,
do you know that's how they test clinical trials for medicines?
oh yeah,
Yeah, is so they take half of a population and they give them the real stuff, and they take the other half and they just give them a placebo. And then they record what the false positives are. So in order to determine how the efficacy of the medicine, they're like, okay, of the people that did take it, this many people reported positive effects. And of the people that took the placebo, this many people reported positive effects. And then the number that, I don't know how they do the calculation, but basically whatever's in between that, that's your efficacy. That because you have to minus the placebo effect out of it. You have to take away the placebo effect.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are going to say they felt better just because of placebo. They're taking a medicine that they've been told will make them feel better.
So it's the trust. The trust is playing with their head.
Yeah, and it's the way they're thinking. They're simply thinking that, hey, this is going to help me.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the time, that's all you need. You just need hope. You just need a little bit to keep on going.
Mm-hmm.
It's why it's like I'm not gonna. That's gonna go off topic, so I'm not gonna get into it. But it's basically just playing on hope,
I'm
and it has a
looking at
very real
something right
effect on the
now.
mind.
Saline solution. Do you know what that is? Or saline? I don't know if I'm saying it correctly.
Saline, yeah,
It's a
saline,
mixture of sodium chloride and water, which is
right?
just like it's not really medicine, right? And I'm
Yep.
reading this right now. About 40% of soldiers, and this is like during, I don't know if it's just during World War II, but it's mentioning World War II here. They
Mhm.
took saline solution
Yep.
instead of morphine, and that reduced or eliminated their pain.
Wow. Even though it's not an opiate,
No,
it's just
yeah.
sodium chloride.
Interesting. Well, we're drifting off topic. This just piqued my interest so
Yeah.
quickly.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
okay.
I mean, this is what happens when you get into like the medical world, though. I have some friends who are very into biology, and dude, our conversations go forever once we get into it.
Yeah, no, I feel you. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. That's what makes a good combo. Okay, then
Yeah,
let's just get back to the whole focus and ADHD stuff. Okay, and then
right.
here's a question: How does social media and notifications kill focus? Because
Mm,
I remember seeing a video somewhere, and I wish I saved it because I wanted to do more research on it. I
yeah,
think the notification sounds they spend so much
yeah,
money
yeah,
on
yeah,
because it needs to trigger something in the brain that completely takes your attention away.
right,
Your focus is on the
right.
sound now, and it piques your interest.
Yeah, yeah. Even the color of Snapchat, that yellow, that really bright yellow,
Hmm.
that's been associated with giving you hits of dopamine. Instagram, if you notice a couple years ago how they changed their algorithm, it's like you no longer see things by what's relevant to your feed. By the chronological order of what's going into your feed.
Hmm.
This was a very purposeful move to move into the whole algorithm space of just serving you the content you love. And then even the way, I don't know if you noticed, but the way Instagram actually gives you notifications, it doesn't just give you them as they come. Sometimes it'll just pop one and then it'll wait a little, like let's say 5 more people like within the 5 minutes. But what it knows you're gonna do is like you're gonna hear the one notification, you're gonna get on, you're gonna check, and you're gonna leave. So what it does is it holds another notification for later. And so we'll give you the other notification after you popped off by a bit to bring you back. And I mean the tactics are they're devious, man. These developers are devious with the way they're studying us and the way they have us figured out.
We're just a bunch of lab
And
rats to them, bro.
yeah, no. So you know the famous quote? It's like, whenever the product is free, you're what they're selling.
Oh wow, I didn't hear that one before.
Yeah, it's something along those lines. But it's like if something's being given to you for free, you're basically a lab rat. Like you are the product that's being sold. And with social media, that's the case. We are just numbers for an advertising agency,
Right.
basically.
So the price we're paying is our attention.
The price you're paying is your life, actually, because life is your attention.
Yeah.
Like life is very strategic in that way, in that what you focus your attention on, they tell you, you hang out with 5 people, you'll be the sixth one just like them, right? Or tell me 5 of your friends and I'll tell you who you are. Like, so life is very strategic in that sense, and that whatever you spend your time on, whatever you give your attention on, focus on, this is who you'll be. This is who you're going to turn out to be.
And then he's saying you pay with your soul, and yeah, and you are paying with your soul because, like Simon
It,
said, your attention is your life, right? And you need the attention on good things to feed your soul, uh, what can make it grow, right? So yeah, you're definitely
absolutely,
right, brother.
absolutely.
So your phone, in final words, your phone doesn't just steal your attention; it
No,
rents
yeah,
space in your mind, and
yeah,
even when you're not using it, there's something, an echo lingering in the back of your head,
one
wanting you
hundred
to get
percent.
back and check it out more.
Yes, yes. There's this very profound saying that that so I was attending a lecture that this priest was giving, and he said something so profound during it. After telling, so he was giving this lecture to some high school and university kids, and after telling them that like how much time they're going to spend on their phones in like their lifetime, which was some crazy number. I mean, you calculate it at 5 hours a day, which I think is like a conservative estimate for how much these kids actually spend like on their phone. You're looking at like 1,800 hours, and then times that, let's say by, let's do times by, like, what's the average lifespan?
I'd say maybe 70 years.
Okay, let's just say over 35 years. Okay, let's just say over 35 years of this kind of use, you're gonna spend 63,000 hours on your phone. Like,
Rest in peace.
yeah, that's that's atrocious. Like, you're basically being trained to be like a robot slave. It's like you're gonna work your whole life, and then you are just going to buy whatever they sell you. That's what's gonna happen. And the winner is the one who can get your attention, basically. So that's what they're fighting for.
This is actually scary. I'm hearing this right
Yeah,
now, and knowing that this is also a lot of people's, like, it's their bread, right? This is how they make money
yeah,
too.
yeah.
So they're in this world. I'm in this world too now. That, like, I'm thinking about it, this is my world now. So I need to
Bro, we're
find
in a
a
podcast
way,
right now.
brother. We need to find a way to, like, get the positive from all this social media and internet, and try
Yeah,
to, like, keep it a positive all the time. It's so
hundred
hard,
percent.
but the moment you see something like that's not really good for your soul, just put not interested. Um, the other live I had JT on. He was like, he mentioned something during a story or a conversation. He's like, he spent a while just not interested, not interested, not interested, just scrolling
Yeah,
through stuff
yeah,
to make sure he clears out the
yes.
his
I
algorithm,
did
right?
that too. I did that. You have to.
And I've
You
and
have
I've
to,
done it
because
too. But guess what? Those funny clips as well, I've come to realize recently, there's a lot of, like, dark humor, unnecessary humor, racist humor, that at some point it became funny to me because of how common it became and how frequent it started popping on my feed. And
right.
then I take, like, after a laugh, I take a moment and I be like, okay, well, that was at someone else's expense. That was at, like, either a race's expense or, like, someone who got injured at that
Right.
expense. And I just question myself, like, is this what being human really is? Like, just laughing at each other, making fun of each other, and all that. And
Yeah.
even though
You
there's nothing wrong with
remember
finding the light in a
Gideon?
subject, Gideon, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's why he quit. Like, that's why he quit doing the pranks and all that stuff. Like, he had like a come to Christ moment, and
Mhm.
he's like, dude, like, I've just been subjecting people to just like, whatever, like, degeneracy this whole time. And that's when he basically vowed to stop doing those things, and now he just, he catches Preds and whatever.
Mhm.
So yeah. Yeah, what you're bringing up though is one of the big points. Like, as you know, I'm a photographer. I love automotive photography, and I've always wanted to get into the real space, but a part of me just ethically, and I feel like maybe it's a conviction. It has always pulled me back from it, unless I was providing something of value. Like I've never, I've tried to like make those more like stupid videos, just, where I'll waste like 10 seconds of your life with some dumb quote about some dumb like Sigma male sentiment and, a cool car video in the back. In reality, it's kind of sad that we have to resort to these like lower forms of I don't know, just lower forms of expression just to like get our art out there.
Right.
But that's what people have been conditioned to. And so there's got to be this like huge fight back. It basically has to be a rebellion of just fulfilling content and like good content. And so this is actually why I don't even spend a lot of my time on my personal Instagram anymore. I only go on there once I want to share something with people, but most of the time I spend it on my photography pages Instagram. And just because I've curated the following, I'm following all content creators. Every video I'm watching, they're basically teaching me how to do something, or I'm getting inspiration from something. And they're really putting in the time into their videos where it's like they're showing me something beautiful rather than just wasting my time.
Hmm.
My friends are constantly sending me the funny videos, and I feel like that's enough for me. I'll watch their videos, and that's enough. But I always find myself doom scrolling, and then that's when I fall into the trap myself.
Hmm. Let's get back on the first topic, but first
Yeah,
I wanna share your Instagram actually on screen. Do you mind that?
yeah, go for it, man.
Lads, you need to check out this guy's like page. Honestly, look at those photos. Top tier. Top
Thank you
tier.
so much, man. I appreciate you. It's a passion of mine. I love cars. I love photos. Just
Wait, let me get to
came together.
TikTok. Yeah, Isaac, it's Vortex. Someone recognized me by my gamer tag. Like we used to play together. For
That's sick.
dude, how have you been, man? It's good. It's good to have you in that live, bro. Um, yeah. So please check him out. Shooter.avenue on Instagram. Here's what I want to get back into. So we spoke
Yeah,
about the distractions we fall into, right?
yeah, yeah.
It's a shame that there's no avoiding the temptations that are we can't just take them out. The temptations are there. So then
Yes.
how can we build a distraction proof routine, like habits that
Mm.
improve concentration?
Well, I think the first thing we have to do is kind of understand the beast that we're dealing with here, and social media being the main beast. But exactly what is it doing? And I think the numbers really reflect that. So if we, for instance, look at ADHD, we know about 7 million kids in the U.S. have been diagnosed with ADHD, and in 2022 alone, an additional 1 million were diagnosed. That's huge.
So 8 in total, dude.
Like we're
That's
saying 7 million have been diagnosed ever in the US, and in 2022 they added 1 million. Like just take a moment to really appreciate the numbers we're talking about here. Boys are more likely to be diagnosed than girls, and about 6 of the 10 children that were diagnosed have moderate or severe ADHD. All this data is from the CDC. For America's adults, diagnoses have shot up by 123% in the US from 2007 to 2016. God knows what that looks post 2016, but the trends are not showing any signs of slowing in this. Studies also suggest a potential rise in the diagnosis due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And this is not just one study that's suggesting this. Many studies are saying that we've had this uptick in diagnosis because of COVID-19. Now, there is a positive side, which is like, COVID-19 gave people a chance to sit back and reflect. And so they're like, hey, like they really sat with themselves for a minute. And I think that's so important, just reflecting on everything. And you said it, even when you're watching a piece of content, like just taking a moment to reflect afterwards, like, what have I just digested?
Mhm.
Because you're not going to gain any benefit unless you reflect on what's happened throughout your day. Um, and then something else, Forbes Health 2023 reports adult diagnosis increased in the last 2 decades from 6.1% of American adults to 10.2% of American
So what are
adults.
they doing with all those diagnoses? Like, I feel like this is what's happening. They're diagnosing,
Yeah,
they're prescribing medication, which God knows
right.
how effective or how damaging it is.
Yep.
And
No, no,
then,
now, actually, medication is prescribed in less than a majority of these cases,
okay,
which is
so
a good thing.
that's a
But it's
good thing.
still, but like if you put it into the numbers, 10% of America's adults, let's say that's 30 million people, you could say about like 10 million maybe are on these drugs,
Not
right?
good.
What are Ritalin, Adderall, all these other kind of drugs,
And then people believe
which
or
which
they're
is
actually ill. That the problem is they're believing they're ill, and then they're using that as an excuse sometimes. I'm not here to
well,
downplay anyone's
yeah, yeah,
here's the thing, like I told you I struggle with the idea of focusing on things a lot of times, right?
right,
But then
right,
again, to the people who just joined, my point is that we focus on things that hold value to us, that has
yeah,
value. So a lot of the people that I speak with, I know like some old friends of mine that used to go through this, right? Whenever every time when they used to mention ADHD a lot, or they lack focus,
hmm
they lack this, they lack that. I asked them, what do you do during your day? Guess
right,
what? They have no answer. They're like, oh, dude, it's just a regular day. Like, what is a regular day?
right,
They're not doing anything productive. And so there's nothing really worth their attention. And their attention keeps fading away, and they keep getting distracted, going from one thing to the next. So at some point, that was their excuse for a very unhappy life.
yeah,
Right. And I'm like, no, guys, you're not prioritizing the things that really matter to you. And guess what? I fell into that trap once before. It was during COVID, dude. COVID, I feel like COVID that time damaged a lot of people's uh will to live in the best way possible, right? Because a lot of us were stuck.
yeah,
We couldn't do anything, right? We couldn't leave home.
yeah.
So, and then TikTok was a thing, and it was gaining popularity, and then
Game over.
yeah, exactly. It was game over at
Yeah.
that point. My experience during that time was horrible. I started a fitness journey, 2018,
hmm
okay? I
hmm
was a pretty big dude, pretty fat, lost a lot of weight within a year, came to Canada,
Wow.
and then guess what? COVID struck right away. Gyms closed. And I'm like, oh, you know what?
That's
Gym's
tough.
closed. Nothing's gonna stop me because I thought I was like a tough dude. Just did this crazy transformation. I can like go through whatever. Got a few
Yeah.
weights to my home. Guess what? They just stood there on the ground. They just stayed there for 2 years. Barely did anything. I gained
Oh,
weight during those 2 years. There was no
right.
gym, no nothing. I could have been on a consistent path ever since 2019, and then I could have been a completely different person right now. That's okay. I learned from my lessons. But point is, I got distracted, and then I like that comfort zone, the quick dopamine hits that I get from TikTok and scrolling and all that. And then I reached a point where there was nothing of value to me to just sit down and focus and do. And so I was unhappy, right?
Yeah,
I was unhappy. I was lacking focus. I was unhappy and all that stuff.
for sure.
Thank God that was broken by finding a job. A friend, a mentor for a while of mine from church. He had a business. His son had a business, and he's like, you know what? Come work for us. We're not really affected by COVID. And brother, I was so lazy. I did not want to work at that time. I did
Yeah,
not
it's
want to
hard.
work. But from that job, when I finally like pushed myself and I'm like, yeah, you know what, I'll take it. I called him. By the way, I already said no, and I called back another 2 weeks. I'm like, is,
Oh,
is the
wow.
offer still there? He's like, yes,
Wow.
you're always welcome. So I took it. It was installing kiosks and screens and all that. It was a lot of fun and very, very tiring too, but it was a lot of fun. Managed the warehouse. From that job, I was able to purchase my camera, my gear, all the PC stuff. And guess what? That opened doors for me, and then I was completely focused. Right now I'm doing what I actually love and what I want to do. In uni, studying, doing my program. It was a lot of fun. Well, that was a quick a long grant session. I kept going there, but
No, no,
Point
no, you're
point
good.
is,
But you know what the sad truth about that is? Like, I'm so glad you found your way out of it.
Mhm.
But for many, it's not that simple. So I know we talked about it maybe being a thought thing, but this is where I think it would be helpful for us to like really understand like what do we mean when we say ADHD, right? Like you said it, that term was thrown around by your friends, right? A
Mhm.
lot,
A lot.
correct? Same, same, so much.
Oh, and
It
guess what?
was
One of them was diagnosed. Only one. The
right,
rest were just throwing the term
right,
left and right.
yeah. No, it happens. If if I were to say in my friend group, basically everyone, like it was funny, like everyone wanted to convince themselves they had it. Not everyone had it. They wanted to convince themselves they had it. Why? Because if I remember correctly, there were statistics coming out of not only okay, yeah, it does provide you with a good excuse as to why you can't pay attention, and we like that. We like excuses because they allow us to stay comfortable. But at the time, if you remember, there was this whole thing about people with ADHD are smarter. Somehow, having ADHD impacts your IQ. There were some studies that came out talking about that. The general consensus is it doesn't. It could, but there isn't enough data for us to like say yes, there's absolutely a correlation and the causation is linked to ADHD. So it's really important to understand ADHD is a very real thing. It's a neurodevelopmental disorder, and it affects the development and the function of our nervous system. Mainly, it's actually the most common childhood development disorder, which makes sense. Like why so many people would say they have it, right? You like back, I think in 2016, you could look in a class and like 1 in 10 kids had it, basically,
Mhm.
and it was more likely that it was both boys. Like
Here-
whoever had it were boys,
What do you think of
right?
this? I got Isaac in the TikTok chat. He's like the food that we feed our kids. He's mentioning
Yes,
that.
1 million%.
I think that's pretty accurate. All the sugars, all the
100%.
processed food.
Like you will see that actually the way most therapists, the first way they actually try to treat ADHD is diet and lifestyle. That's one of the main factors that can affect the severity of it. But regardless of severity, you can be born with it. It is actually not like you can be born with the gene that develops then this disorder, right? Because this disorder develops a long time, right?
Mhm.
Um, Again, I'll break down how it works. So we already kind of talked about dopamine being this happy molecule, right? And then helps you stay motivated, push through tasks, finish your homework, finish your chores, things like that. So for people with ADHD, the brain basically has less dopamine and it just doesn't use it as well. And so that's why you'll see people with ADHD, they generally have anxiety, right? So they have less of the happiness molecule. So then stress, cortisol can actually take over and they become more stressed people and as a result become more anxious. So basically, it means that there is actually something genetic that makes it hard for people to stay motivated. Like, absolutely true. There is something genetic that does that,
Mhm.
you know, which is a scary thing. Like, that's a scary thing to think about because it's one thing to be like, it's my thoughts doing this. And then it's another thing to be like, my body is literally failing me.
Mhm.
Like, that's not something that many people have to struggle with until they're old in age, right? First, your knees start failing you, then this starts failing you, then your back goes out on you, that right? But when you're a young kid with ADHD, it's like your brain is failing you right away, basically. Like one of the main criteria for diagnosing ADHD is that the symptoms were present before you're 12 years old, which means this has to be something that's lasted a lifetime, right? And that the symptoms have been present for more than 6 months and things like that. So when we talk about ADHD, people often tend to say this is a tendency based thing, but the research does show it's a genetic based thing,
Mhm.
right? The severity to which it affects us will vary based on many different things. So basically, though, the way it's diagnosed is there's this book, and it's a really big deal. It's published by the American Psychiatric Association, and it's called the DSM-5. It's like a Diagnostic and Statistic Manual, 5th edition. Something I'm probably like totally butchering it right now because I think the word like disorders is in there or something. But anyways, it's a big deal because it's basically the standard when you walk to a doctor's office. The way a doctor is going to diagnose you is by using the criteria from this handbook, right? And so the criteria is basically 5 clusters, A, B, C, D, E. You have to fit within, you have to successfully match the criteria of all those clusters, right? Now, we're going to do a small exercise, and we're going to basically go through the clusters, and I just want you guys to kind of keep track of how many you think you fit, how many boxes you tick off. I sent you
The picture.
the
Which
images
one?
if you could pull those up. The cluster A. Let's start with that one, and I think it's cluster A, and then there's a sub thing. It's like type A or something. Criteria A, cluster A.
I'm on criteria A right now. Criteria.
Yeah,
A.
and then right under it is written cluster A. You got it pulled up? Because I can't see yours.
I got criteria A right now. Oh.
Okay.
Cluster B. Cluster
Okay,
A.
can you
Okay, I'm
pull
on
up
cluster
cluster
A
A?
right now. Okay.
All right, perfect. So cluster A. So basically, this is just a visual for you guys, and I'm going to read out exactly what's written in the DSM-5. So number 1. So a person must have 6 of the following 9 attentive traits to fulfill this criteria. Number 1, often fails to give close attention to details or makes careless mistakes in schoolwork, at work, or during other activities. 2, often has difficulty sustaining attention in tasks or play activities. So you can't remain focused during lectures, conversations, or lengthy reading. 3, often does not seem to listen when spoken to directly. Example, mind seems elsewhere even in the absence of any obvious distraction. 4, often does not follow through on instructions and fails to finish schoolwork, chores, or duties in the workplace. So starts tasks but quickly loses focus and is easily sidetracked. Number 5, often has difficulty organizing tasks and activities. 6, often avoids, dislikes, or is reluctant to engage in tasks that require sustained mental effort. So lengthy papers, essays, things like that. 7, often loses things necessary for tasks and activities. So, books, tools, wallets, keys, glasses, telephone. 8, is often easily distracted by extraneous stimuli. For older adults, it's basically like just unrelated thoughts. So like if you just constantly bombarded by unrelated thoughts. 9, is often forgetful in daily activities. So when you're doing chores, running errands, whatever, you're just forgetting things.
So all of those that you're mentioning can tick any
time.
of the boxes of criteria A, cluster A, or B, right?
No, so this is just cluster A. So these are the attentive traits, so or inattentive traits, right? So ADHD has 2 parts: the hyperactivity part and the inattention part, right? So this is the inattention part. Did you count how many you probably resonated with?
2 of them for sure.
2 for sure. Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's great. What's the difference between ADHD and ADD? So ADHD is attention deficit and hyperactive disorder. ADD is attention deficit disorder. Basically, ADHD swallowed the term ADD. So, and now they're basically looked at as, unpopularly, I'd say, they're looked at as 2 subtypes of ADHD. Actually, 3 subtypes of ADHD. So you can have inattentive ADHD, you can have hyperactive ADHD, or you can have one that is a mix of both. I hope that answers your question, Subduki. Um, and then if we move to cluster B, this is the
Give me a
hyperactivity stuff.
second.
So again, you only need 6 of these symptoms to be present. There's 9 symptoms. 6 of them are present. You fulfill this criteria. Now, by the way, I'm not encouraging anyone to self-diagnose here. You will see why I'm doing this exercise because it's very important. But diagnosis should absolutely be left up to professionals. Let me know when you've got it up on
I
your
got
screen.
it up.
Okay, perfect. So often fidgets or taps with hands or feet or squirms in the seat. 2, often leaves seat in situations when remaining seated is expected. 3, often runs about or climbs in situations where it's inappropriate. 4, often unable to play or engage in leisure activities quietly. 5, is often on the go, acting as if driven by a motor. So basically, like you're not able to be uncomfortable or still for extended time. Like you're restless. 6, talks excessively. Sorry. 7, often blurts out an answer before a question has been completed. 8, often has difficulty waiting for their turn. And 9, often interrupts or intrudes on others. How many think you got of those, Khalil?
Good question. The thing is,
And chat,
I
drop
can
how many
like
you guys
relate
think.
to one, but at the same time, I can like justify why it happens, and it's not because of lack of attention. It just gets
Okay.
back to the value.
No, but none of
I
these are
think
actually really
difficulty
about lack of attention.
sitting still. Honestly, difficulty sitting still might definitely be it.
Yeah.
Because even when I'm focused on something, I feel like I just need to like get up and like get a refresher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So none of these are quite a result, like quite about a lack of attention. These are more so like just things that you tend to do, just your brain does.
Mhm.
And if anyone in the chat, if you guys relate to many of these, you should probably go see a doctor. If you ticked off 6 or more in the first one and 6 or more in the second one, you should definitely see a doctor. The final criteria, B, C, D, and E, are basically that these symptoms were present before the age of 12. In C, that it's called the 2 setting rule. So several inattentive or hyperactive symptoms are present in 2 or more settings. So they have to be like, let's say, home and school, or home and work, or with friends and at work, right? So these can't be in just one setting, because then we can say that, oh, it's the setting that's causing you to do this. D, there has to be clear evidence the symptoms interfere with or reduce the quality of social or academic or occupational functioning. So they actually have to affect you for you to be diagnosed. If they don't affect you, yeah, you're dealing with them properly. So it's whatever. And criteria E is basically that it's not happening because of like a psychotic disorder or like due to substance abuse.
Well, okay. Here's the thing. So,
Yeah.
I know people who genuinely dislike to get diagnosed. They dislike going to
Right.
the doctor. They don't
Right.
want to make something a medical thing. And by the way, for
100%.
you guys, I mean, I want to agree with you so bad, but at the same time, I'm not a doctor, so I don't know how severe some things may be.
Yeah.
But for those of you who are like me, and you don't want to really put yourself under a diagnosis or have this idea in your mind that you're ill with something.
Yeah.
I say the one way you can start solving those problems of distractions and lack of focus is to become a designer. And let me explain what kind of designer. A designer to your own schedule. Design your schedule, build it in a way that is appealing to you. Avoid distractions through having your preferred activities, okay? So focus isn't about willpower only, it's about designing your schedule and build your day in a way that has no distractions and have no room for it to sneak in. Okay? I can give examples. Put in your schedule, working out, all right? Guess what? A lot of you lazy heads out there don't want to go and work out because it's painful. And I know some of you, you told me this before. Get up, do it at least for a week. You're gonna love it. You're gonna reach a point where it's not painful anymore. You don't care about the pain in the moment. You care about the feeling you get afterwards, the feeling of accomplishment, right? So add an exercise. It doesn't have to be the gym. It could be swimming, it could be basketball, football, whatever it is, or soccer if you're in Canada and the USA. just add in a sport, a physical activity, as simple as walking as well, and give it a good amount of time. That's one. Two, find a topic or something you're really interested in and invest time in it. All right. If you're a big fan of film, like for example, like me, now I don't want to take that route because I have other things in mind. But if that's all you want to do, invest in learning how to become a better filmmaker, and invest on knowing how to critique films so you can do better films yourself, right? And that takes its own time. So fill your schedule, make it appealing to you, design it in a way that will keep you focused, and slowly but surely you will reach a point where you can be confident with yourself and trust yourself to stay on task. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's sound. I mean, this is what happens. So with those symptoms, I think many people will resonate with some of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not necessary. Some people will actually resonate with a lot of them, and others maybe none. It's not necessary that you have ADHD if you resonate with a lot of them, because we saw things during the pandemic where many people, there's actually a study literally called ADHD symptoms increased during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. And the conclusion supported just the title.
You want to do something fun right now?
Yeah.
Here, let's try to find a solution, a practical solution for each one of those criterias. All right, so I'm gonna pull up. Let me half and half the screen of you and the picture. Let me. Okay, I think I got it right now. Okay, so criteria A, cluster A. What can we tackle with those? Something practical. Losing objects. I want to tackle that one. Silly one from like if someone is organized all the time, they find this as silly. But someone like me, I struggled with this for a while, and then thankfully I got it in check. Have a system. I say have a system.
Yeah.
Like take the time. It's not gonna take you more than a day, guys. Take the time and then find a system of where things should be, and then you genuinely won't lose an object anymore. And if you do, guess what? You will find it easily because something is out of place. If everything is where it's supposed to be, then you're gonna find that thing.
Absolutely.
It's gonna peek out.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is a huge problem I used to have. And then I set it up in a way where, like, my keys always, I got a hook for my keys. My keys always go on the hook.
Mm-hmm.
My glasses always go in front of me on the table, right by my speaker or on my speaker. Like, they always go there. I will never, if I do put them somewhere else, I'm like, next thing I know, I'm going around the house looking for them, basically. So yeah, you have like, if you're losing objects, that's thank God it's a simple one to solve. But it's basically, the reason it's happening is because you're just not paying attention to where you're putting things, and so your brain it doesn't even know it because you haven't paid any attention. You have so much stimulus around you, so much information around you, that you weren't able to focus on that one piece of information and register it. Like, where did I put that? Right. And subconsciously, your brain's amazing. Sometimes it'll keep track, and you'll figure it out after a little bit. But other times that just may not be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But this is one that
how about sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
How about difficulty breaking down large projects? What do you think of the practical way of dealing with this?
I mean, practically the way I've done it is like during school projects is study the outline. Like, I became so familiarized with the outline of the assignment. I'll write it out. I'll make it a like a to-do list, and then I'm just running through that, and then it helps to add sub steps. If there is sub steps, add them. Like, because what another thing is, people that suffer with breaking down large projects, they also might suffer with, like, large projects in general. And so what's going to happen is a lot of the details are going to be overlooked. So if you remember any details, write down, like, hey, make sure I check this detail, and make sure I check that detail. So yeah, for me, what helped with that is just becoming an expert in analyzing analyzing an outline. So if I have a task I've got to do, I'm all in on it. Like I'm like, yeah, I got to do this step, this step, this step to achieve this. And also looking at what other people did, just seeing how other people get to where they did. And it's important not to copy that because it's going to disrupt your creativity and you're basically just going to be copying at that point. But it helps to just see how others' thought processes work, and then that'll help you kind of break things down.
Bro, give me a second. I can't hold a smile back right now. I'm getting I'm getting advertised on on Twitch right now. Literally the first viewer I have is advertising cheap viewers. He's trying to get me to buy some cheap viewers.
Let's do it.
Yeah, right.
Fake it until you make it.
We're gonna get flagged, bro. We're gonna get flagged. Clash with the good boy comments, yo. We love Clash, dude. Ain't you always coming
Thank
in
you
with
for
the
the good boy
most
comments.
gold comments, dude?
Yeah, by the way, I'm a terrible person to ask about how to beat these things because I haven't, there's a lot of these things I have not beat. Like, I think fidgeting is just something I might never beat unless by miracle of God. That's literally what I'm relying on for fidgeting, is that God is going to bless me with stillness, both inner that will reflect onto my outer. But for me, that seems like the solve for fidgeting. Same with difficulty sitting still. Like,
Right.
a lot of these things is just, it's easy when I'm locked in. Super easy. Like there's a video they showed of like a kid trying to do math, right? Like he's trying to do math homework and they put up a camera like right above him and you know, he just they sped it up times 10. You see this kid like he's like a yo-yo. He's all over the place, this guy. And then they put a Star Wars movie and then this guy's just still like it's like he's dead and his eyes are open basically. So it there's negatives and positives in the yes, you might be very restless, but then when you find that thing you can lock in on, it's something else. But where it becomes so bad in your life is a life isn't just about doing things that you want to do. This is where it gets really hard. Is a life where you're just doing everything that you want to do, like from a dopamine perspective, because again, this is a hormone that very addictive and can cause greed, is a life that is a person that's not suffering. And we know that suffering is what heals us, basically. Well, not scientifically. You know, people, I don't know. Maybe you could find some stuff scientifically to support this hypothesis, like, oh, people who suffer end up with a survivor mentality, and then the survivor mentality is eventually what makes it to places.
Yeah, putting pieces scientific pieces together, you can come up with that resolution. Like
absolutely. But you know, I don't like to make I don't like to brand scientific claims on things that aren't, because you know the rebuttals are just endless. But what I do know as a basic truth that was given to us believers of God is that work is the medicine. Like I said in the last podcast, is that work is the medicine, and the fruit of suffering is salvation, basically.
Yep.
So this is our way out, and with someone with ADHD, you know, just being able to pay attention is on things they don't want to pay attention is so strenuous. It's so, but then with social media, I think someone just said it, username. He said TikTok made a whole generation claim they have ADHD, but their dopamine receptors are just fried.
Yep.
3 million %. This is actually why I believe, this is not a study, this is why I believe that we saw an uptick of ADHD symptoms in the COVID-19 pandemic. People are using social media more, and they just absolutely fried their reward system in their brain. And there's another study that's called Understanding Problematic Social Media Use in Adolescents with ADHD, and they observed that the higher the intensity of social media use, then the higher the levels of ADHD were in those people, as well as other characteristics such as oppositional behavior, anxiety, and FOMO. So these people were like, dude, these people just stress themselves out, basically. I'm saying these people, but it's like, it's all of us. All of us got sucked into this. Like, we just increased our cortisol levels. We became more antisocial. That's that's what oppositional behavior is. More like, we became more like clans in a way. I remember I went on a missionary trip to Bolivia, and one of the comments that the Bolivians had for our group of Canadians that was coming in, I was a chaperone for some teens that were going there. So it was more so for the teens, just get them off their phones, get them out doing some missionary work. And one of the things the Bolivian kids told me, they're like, your teens move like gangs. And I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah, you guys, like, you move like, you're in this one big group, but within the group, you've separated yourself into gangs. And I looked at it and I was like, I took it in.
It's true.
And I'm like,
It's true.
there's no way. There's like, they're gangs. Like, these kids are gangs. Not criminal gangs, but it's like, it's posses. They're all different posses, and like, hey, this one doesn't interact with this one. This one's got beef with this one. And then I looked at the Bolivians. Thank God I got this observation, like, but not on the last day. Like, I had a couple days left there because we were there for about 3 weeks. But thank God it wasn't at the very end. But so I got some time to observe it. And the Bolivians had this insane sense of community where they were all just like, anytime someone came to the church or to wherever they're hanging out, they are all hanging out together, regardless of what inner social dynamics are going on, which is what we use a lot of times as an excuse. They were together. And what I realized is, so there's two kids, well, the boys mainly, we managed to take away their phones, right? So we basically banned the boys from their phones. The girls, it was a total nightmare to try to do that.
Was it just a rule and then they were forced to abide by, or how did you have to like kind of trick them in a way?
Well, the girls wouldn't like agree to it whatsoever, right? Just during the trip, we were like, we're going to an airport, we're with a big group, everyone's friends, and we just see these kids on their phones, and I'm like, yo, like, no, this is not right. So my boy just comes, and he's very like, God bless him, his name's Paul. And he's very strong in this sense because he went through the same things. And he's like, yo, let's just steal their phones. And I'm like, all right, bet. And so by the time we made it to Bolivia, we'd successfully stolen the boys' phones. And, we found out what their passcodes were, got onto them, locked up all their apps. All they had that they could access was the camera app and WhatsApp.
Must have been a nightmare for some of them.
Yeah, it absolutely was. But you know what? Their parents talked to us later on, and they're like, dude, like, this kid's changed, that was amazing. We saw the change within the 2 weeks of the detox. Like, we literally saw them go from these like no personality having kids to just life. Like, these kids have so much life in them. And it was their phones draining all that away.
Yeah.
For instance, there was this one kid, I remember the first couple of days, he was just begging for his phone. So we gave him a cold shoulder. We're like, yeah, dude, you're an addict. Like, you're not getting any more of this drug so long as we're on this trip. By the end of it, this guy was the most eager person to serve. He's probably doing the most service.
He finally got the moment to just sit down and focus, right?
Yeah.
He found the value in the things he was missing. He didn't know he was missing.
Absolutely. And so this oppositional behavior, like the development of oppositional behavior and the higher levels of ADHD and more symptoms of ADHD and more characteristics along these lines, like this has an absolutely positive correlation between it and social media. So if you find yourself suffering from these things, it's an 80% chance that it's due to problematic social media usage.
Yep. Dude, you know what I love about this conversation? Like
Yeah.
I have an entire like question paper, right? It's full of questions to ask.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we didn't even need to touch half of them. We just simply answered most of them.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of, you're talking about a subject that's so interconnected with everything.
Mm-hmm.
We're all experiencing it. We're living it. It's real life right now.
Right.
You know. And by the way, there's actually US states that are suing TikTok for what they call their dopamine inducing algorithm. And they're saying that TikTok is intentionally created to be addictive. And they're claiming that TikTok is knowingly targeting young users.
Oh, yo, that should be like, bro, that should be like a crime of some sort. Like there's
Right.
ain't no way, dude.
The complaint that they launched said TikTok's design choices exploit the neurotransmitter dopamine, which helps humans feel pleasure as a part of their brain's reward system to encourage reinforcement.
And then we wonder why we have so many, sad to say this, useless kids growing up.
Yeah.
Not even able to help their parents out with regular chores.
Hey, these kids are at such a high risk too. We are too, by the way. Once you look at all the data that's being collected on you, so we did a case study in my law class. I had a law technology course with this amazing professor. His name's Daniel Tsai. He actually usually appears on CBC and stuff like that, and he gives breakdowns of current issues that are going on. He gives the legal analysis. And he made us go through the terms of service for TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And they collect an atrocious amount of data about you, to the point where cyber experts say that finally device mapping, external storage access, contacts, and third-party applications data collection allows TikTok the ability to reimagine the phone in the likeness of the original device, aka they can clone your device with your habits on it.
No, cooked generation, bro.
So now hold on. Let's match that with AI, okay? I can take your phone, clone it. I know the way you keystroke, by the way. TikTok registers your keystrokes even. So the way you scroll, if you post the video, TikTok registers locations and your face and everything, okay? So I'm a company, powerful marketing company, and I have access to AI. I'm going to take all this information I'm collecting about you. I'm going to create cloned instances of your phone, and I'm just going to run AI instances of sorry. I'm going to run basically simulations of how I think you're going to react to what content. And then based on what gets the best results, that's how I'm going to feed it to you. And that's what they're doing. And if they're not doing it, that's what they're going to be doing. Because that's the future. They're going to figure you out.
Mm-hmm. We got Subzuki in the chat. He's like, love that username. I'm scared for the younger generation. Aren't we
Absolutely.
all? But here's the thing. I was telling you this earlier, Simon. I feel like the younger generation, as fried their brain is, okay, they're going to reach a point where they're unsatisfied, right? And they're going to be sick and tired of the way they're living. So as hard everything is around them and how easy it is to control them now with all the social media scrolling and then customized feeds, I feel like the kids will want to experience life at some point because that's all they've known growing up, right? It's gonna be sickening. I remember
not without the guidance of parents.
Well, yeah, of course, but let's say if the parents are also in the same vortex of just content after content, right? You're gonna reach a point where you're gonna appreciate the things you don't do a lot, right? You're gonna appreciate them more. Going out for a trip, you're gonna appreciate that more, and you're gonna want it more at some point. I remember as a kid when consoles were becoming a very major and popular thing, like the PS3 and then the PS4.
Yes. Yes.
My parents didn't really allow any of those systems to be a major thing in the house. All right. Actually, it took a long, like back and forth conversations to finally convince them that I can grab one and buy one. Right.
Same. Same.
And guess what? My life was just like I had a normal kid life at some point until I fell into this pressure, and then I kept pressuring my parents, and then they finally agreed with time limits, by the way, at first. But what I'm trying to get to is kids want the things they don't have, right? When we're young, we want the things that look appealing, that look nice, and that we don't have. But now everyone has everything that we grew up restricted from. So guess what they will want? The experiences that we had as kids, those experiences that they never got to experience. So as cooked as they may seem, and I hate using that term, but I got addicted to it. There is hope. There is hope. I feel like kids will wake up, not necessarily as kids, but at some point when they grow up, they're gonna be like, you know what, this is not the life I want to live, and then they're gonna want to do something else. So hopefully AI doesn't screw that over and then come in with its own set of problems.
But I think there's a flip side to that, which is that they're exposed to so much dopamine right now that without a proper cleanse, they will never be able to enjoy the things that you enjoy.
Yeah, but the proper cleanse is so extreme. There's no way it's gonna work. The only proper cleanse is just simply remove all of those platforms, and that's not gonna happen. Those are
It doesn't have to be that extreme. You could still, according to the advice of Dr. Andrew Huberman, who's an expert in the ADHD field and the ADHD symptom. Like he's an expert in focus. I mean, you should whoever has never listened to Dr. Andrew Huberman, his podcasts are wonderful. He basically said for adults, the technological factor is that adults should aim for less than 2 hours a day of like phone use. And then youth should aim for under 60 minutes a day. That still allows you a window for it, but more than that, you're just causing too much damage. But there are other ways to also get better. So for instance, you'll find in like Canada, the problem's much worse. Why? Environmental factors, right? People can't go out. That's why people have so much screen time. Like, dude, I think there was a Sunday or a Saturday, I had 12 hours of screen time, literally. Like I spent the whole day on the screen. I didn't even touch grass, like nothing. 12 hours.
I mean, there's no grass to touch at this weather, bro.
Yeah, well, that's what So this is the point. So you need stimulation. Like you basically, working out is one of the biggest ways in which you can kind of detox and rebuild your dopamine reward system and make it more long-term also. Other ways are, someone had mentioned food before. Food is huge, man. What you put in your body, this is the big stuff here. You know, elimination diet. You've got to eliminate sugars. Like eliminating sugar has actually been shown to reduce ADHD. Like the symptoms themselves, not the actual developmental disorder. Because, as you know, ADHD, can't get rid of it. You've got it, that's it. You don't got it, you're good. Some adults, though, there are now reports of like a late onset. So like you might not have it when you're young, and then when you're older, it starts showing up, which means you did have it, but it wasn't fully there yet. But because of social media, you might have just already had like a less dopamine than you should. And then because of social media, you've destroyed your dopamine system. So boom, now you're like actually experiencing severe ADHD symptoms or moderate ADHD symptoms.
Right.
But
well, we covered a lot, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I think we should start wrapping things up. And there's a question I wanted to ask. What are your thoughts on multitasking? Do you think it's a real thing? You know, are you actually able to multitask?
No, absolutely not.
Why not?
You just so this is how we have to think of focus. Basically, you have a stimuli going on all around you. Like right now in your room, you've got you've got, how many computer screens do you have?
2 computer screens. My phone is
Okay.
active. I got a bunch of split
Okay.
screens. Yep.
Bunch of split. Okay. So just your computer screens, you have so much information there, right? Let alone, what cool gadgets do you have in your room? Do you have a TV? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have you've got a camera, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have speakers?
Speakers, everything, the whole set. So
Okay,
what's the
dude.
point?
All of these things are stimuli. You've got lights.
Yep.
That's visual stimulus, right? So visual, like audio, visual, even sensation. Sensation is a stimulus, right? Smell. That's another. So basically, the war that you're fighting with focus is you are trying to eliminate as many things as possible so that you can target in. That's how you focus. That's the main way it works. That's the only way you're able to put your brain power into something, or else your brain power is wasted on everything else that's around you. Like if you have, like, think about it, like it's like me looking through a scope versus me looking through a fisheye lens, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. So when you're looking through a fisheye lens, you can't focus on anything. You're just looking at everything. It's a big picture. And that's to be used for a time. Like that has its time and its place. Work, though, is not one of those times and places. Unless, let's say, your work is going in and like experiencing some, like you're a game tester or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
So part of your job involves you just opening up and just taking it in, right? Letting it come to you. But then to do work,
in a way, multitasking is a myth. Then it's not really a thing because your brain doesn't do 2 things at once. It switches back and forth quickly, which burns more mental energy. And guess what the result is? Possibly more mistakes and less progress. Right. So if you want real focus, then let's just try to tackle one thing at a time, and then splitting attention means less work finished. So let's not split that attention. Also, we owe Tamer a very nice apology and a thank you. He said he's trying to study for his midterm, but he can't focus because of us.
Why are you here? Why are you here?
Stay here.
We're talking about people like you,
dude.
Put
it on mute, bro. Put it on mute. Just stay here. Just stay here and put it on mute. Oh, and guys, like, please like the stream. And I know you're here, you're active and all, but please like the stream so we can get better statistics and analytics on YouTube, because it's very hard to promote streams. That would be very kind of you. Let's do a fun question, all right? Let's wrap things up with some would you rathers, all right? My new favorite segment. Would you rather have laser focus, all right, for 3 hours a day, or mild focus for 12 hours? But that's all you get.
Yeah, laser.
Why?
Easy. That's all you need. You just need 3 hours a day. I wake up, well, when my sleep schedule is good, I'll wake up anywhere from 7 to 9 a.m. and I will get more work done from 9 to 12 than I will the whole rest of the day. So with mild, quote unquote, mild focus. So those 3 hours of the day that you could find in the very beginning of your day, when it's actually like your brain's most alert and it is your laser focus time, this is when you'll get most of your work done. If I don't wake up for those 3 hours, or if I somehow miss those 3 hours, I'm cooked. Like I'm stuck working until 9 p.m.
Tough. Well, I do agree with you, because 3 hours of laser focus beats 12 hours anytime.
Oh my!
Because time does not equal productivity.
No,
intensity does. And guess what
taught
me that the most?
It's what?
Guess what taught me that the most? That time doesn't equal productivity. Intensity does. Fitness.
What did?
Fitness. All the way. Dude, there was a time where I spent like 2.5 hours to 3 hours at the gym, right? Taking my time on each set, resting, doing more, doing this, doing that. And then I remember I saw some random videos like, no, intensity is what matters the most. And then I tried that out. And guess what? that's when the real progress came in. You don't need more than 40 minutes at the gym. I
Facts.
mean, I
Yeah,
still spend like an
so
hour and a bit, but still, like, you don't need 2+. You can be in and out quick if you do it intense and properly.
yeah. Yeah, our friend Sup said, "Did you know the average office worker is only productive for approximately 2 hours and 23 minutes per day in an 8-hour workday?"
Mm-hmm.
So that goes to our point. Like laser focus is the way to go.
Yep.
And
Yep.
there's ways you can actually do that. One of the actually, maybe you could drop the link to this video below your video for the people, or I'll just drop it in the chat. But guys, there's a difference between relaxation and what's the word I'm looking for when you get
How much rest do you get between rests? Between
recover.
sets? 2 weeks, bro.
No, no, no.
2 weeks
Between
each set.
relaxation and recovery.
No,
No,
I'm
no,
not
no.
saying timer.
Like I'm talking about just regular, like work. Oh wait, you're answering a question.
Yeah,
My
yeah.
bad.
How
My
much
bad.
rest
I
do you get
totally
between
didn't.
sets?
Totally didn't.
Brother, 2 weeks. We work out once and that's it. We rest for 2 weeks.
High intensity.
Super high intensity. I bring my pillow and
Hey, you know
blanket
that
with
there's
me
some
to the
people
gym, bro.
that would disagree with you on that high intensity working out thing.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, every point they can disagree with me, honestly. And you know what? I welcome disagreement. Why are you guys all agreeing? All right,
Okay,
let's
can I be a
cook
devil's
controversy.
advocate?
Go for it.
Okay. So you said it's better to do a high intensity
Hmm.
than like take a longer period of time. But high intensity means like more strain. And so like let's say how many days a week would you go high intensity, you'd say?
Easily 4 out of 5 times. Like,
Four days a week?
I got used to it. That's why. Like, I got used
Okay.
to it. But
Okay.
at
So
the
it
start,
became your new
definitely was
threshold,
very hard.
basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It became your new threshold. Like basically what I'm saying is you could do 50 push-ups a day, right? Or you could just divide it. Or like let's say your goal is let's say 1,000 push-ups, right? You could try to do 500 push-ups in 2 days and like absolutely kill yourself, or divide it over the 7 days, and because you're doing the same amount of volume, but you're straining yourself less, you're actually setting yourself up to be more successful in this way.
Hmm.
Because there's less strain on your body. And so what you're actually doing is properly training rather than, so like a sprinter, for instance, doesn't train by sprinting because that's damaging them,
Hmm.
you know? So well, what do you think about that? How does that fit into your workout mentality?
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. Like, you got to be smart with with what you're being intense with. You know, like, I'm not gonna go and tell you do chest day every single day. Like, that's not gonna
Right.
work. It doesn't matter how like, that's very intense, right? That's the definition of
Mhm.
intensity. One muscle every single
Mhm.
day. You're not gonna get any
Yep.
progress from that. You're not gonna even recover. When will you get the time to recover? So yeah, I do agree with you. So just be smart on what you're being intense with. But I do for this would you rather question believe that intensity is the winner. 3 laser focus
Yeah, yeah.
hours is more than
For
enough for
focus,
12.
100%.
Oh yeah,
But
100%, dude.
like, yeah,
So then,
any
would
day
you
of the week.
rather never be distracted again or never feel tired again? And before you answer that, I do want to say hi to everyone that's on Kick and TikTok. We've had consistent like 5 on TikTok, and then right now we just got up to 4 on Kick, which is great.
Sick.
Thank you guys.
Sick. Would I rather say that again?
So would you rather never be distracted again or never feel tired again?
My goodness.
That's a tough one, huh?
So is never feel tired like also you don't sleep or you still sleep?
Let's go on the extremes for both sides, all right? Let's go the extreme.
Okay. If no sleep, then absolutely, because I'm reclaiming all the time in the world, right? But if I still have to sleep, then I'm gonna go for the first one
Mm-hmm.
because it makes more sense to me. I feel like never get distracted. You're focused.
You know, I wrote this question. I
You
didn't even think
actually
about it.
it's a very
Wait,
interesting
what do I
one.
choose? So you're going with never distracted, huh? Never feel
Yeah,
distracted.
never distracted. If I still have to sleep, but if I don't have to sleep, then never tired.
What do you guys think? Drop stuff in the chat. What do you think? I can't make up my mind on this. I feel like the thing is, I do like the feeling of getting tired sometimes. It's like it's such a rewarding thing, you know. You worked all day, you go to sleep. It's like
That's right.
right.
Yeah.
Knowing that feeling, I don't want to get rid of it, right? But at the same time, imagine not feeling tired, dude. You know. I keep bringing it back to fitness. You know the amount of gains you'd make if you never get tired. You're just constantly building muscle, dude. That'd be insane. But never be distracted again also gets your life right. You know,
David said, no sleep equals more time to work and keep the same amount of distraction. Sup says no, never distracted again. Yeah.
Clash saying, shout out to the Kick and TikTok viewers. Tomorrow we are playing a horror game. Yes, we are. Quick promo
We're doing
to
it?
that. Yeah, we are. You're like, oh wait, are we? Yeah, we will be playing Panacore level 2. Yeah, shamefully, it took us 2 hours to complete.
No, we don't have to talk about it. We don't have to talk about it. I'm glad my involvement is when you're not big. Like, this is good practice right now.
Yeah.
This is what's needed right here. Is like, we've got to suck at video games for a little bit. We've got to have our hiccups in our conversations, and then in order to really get there.
Exactly. I agree. So
yeah,
would you rather
no
question?
Distraction.
Would you rather no distraction, huh? Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
no distraction seems to be the consensus for the chat too.
I really like that, guys. I don't know why I disagree with all of you. I feel like never feel tired. Am I the only one who's feeling this way? Never feel tired, bro. That'd be so good.
But you just said it feels so
good. I know. But I wanna choose that too, because the idea of gains is just incredible, dude. Incredible.
But like, imagine, like your legs just aching at the end of the day, and your
there's
back
no
is
aching.
Just hurting.
You're never tired.
No. I'm saying if you do feel tired, and then you just get into bed, and it just feels like a cloud.
Oh, dude,
like,
you're hitting my soft spot right now. Like that's what I like.
Yeah, that's
a good sleep. Good sleep is what I like. I
never
get to experience that again.
Gone.
You know what, guys? I'm undecided on this. All right, I'm undecided. If I'm forced to choose, just for the sake of gains, I will go for never get tired again. I think that's a wrap. That was a fun question. Let me let me know what you guys thought. You know, it was a good stream in my opinion. Simon came in with a lot of good points, a lot of good research. We tackled ADHD, difference between that and ADD, which is pretty much the same thing nowadays. They're grouped up.
Yeah.
We got those two pictures. Let me reveal them one more time.
If you guys have any questions, let me know, man. I'd love to look them up, bring you some answers. Not a psychologist. I do love psychology.
And it would be nice if you guys like help me out too. Like, drop in the comments what you wanna hear. You know, like I've got an entire year planned out, but it's better if you decide what you want to listen to, and then we can work around that too. Because for me, all topics are interesting if it leads to progression. You know, character development.
Oh, and there's Clash with that.
Oh, there we go. We love Clash, dude. Don't we? We love Clash.
Yo, dude, you should totally have like your, because these are the day ones, right? You should totally have some of these day ones up on the stream sometime. Like, just bring them in and have a chat with them,
dude, for sure. You know,
I got during one of your chill sessions.
On a few people. I'm not gonna say your name yet.
Okay.
But you guys are you run businesses, so it would be cool to like speak to you about it. You know how it goes and how it went and how it's going right now.
Sure. Sup asked the question. He's like, how do I lock in when doing deep work? Okay, look, I'm gonna find you the video series.
You want a real answer or like my kind of answer where we're just having some fun with it, you know? Because my kind of answer would be, bro, just search up some guy named Lucas. I keep forgetting his last name. Dude, this guy, all of his videos, he screams at you. Like, he's in his car, he looks at his phone. It's like, get up, go to the gym, and like he's just screaming 24/7, and that gets me hyped. You know, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'm sorry, I'm locked in now.
Fair enough.
But no,
Fair
if
enough.
you want
But
a real
no,
answer, brother, just like genuinely pray. Like I'm serious. Pray
yeah,
for your focus.
fair.
Whatever you're trying to do, put it in front of God and let Him help you with it.
Yeah. Um, in addition to prayer, I think, yo, dude, I think we really need to do a part 2 of this where we dive into the spiritual side of this whole thing.
Ooh.
I think
Ooh.
that's like the real big one because
That's a call for JT and Danny, and then maybe
yeah,
Clash if interested. It would be a
yeah, like
nice
it's
multi discussion.
it'll be a crazy topic because what you'll see is a lot of these symptoms have been described by the early church fathers and they've tackled these issues. And I don't want to reveal too much, but this is a topic that definitely changed my life and has actually allowed me to create routines and tactics that actually work in beating distractions because that's what it's all about. It's just about locking in and beating distractions.
Mm-hmm.
So we should I think we should do a part 2.
That's gonna take a while for it to happen. For next week, we got like an interesting guest. That person, I won't give out too much, but they went through a transition from one religion to another.
Wow.
And I think it's a crazy story. I mean, I don't really know it. I just know that, and that's it. So I want to dive into that and talk about it. So that would be cool. We're gonna have a very athletic person on in 2 weeks as well. A guy who goes into marathons and all that. He's a friend of mine. Loves the gym, loves the workout culture and all that. So it'll be an interesting conversation. We're gonna have my siblings on at some point. I mean, I'm still talking to them about it, but it'll be a very cool, dude. The sibling stream would be so nice, and I'm looking forward to that. And hopefully, I can convince my pastor to hop on at some points. And Father George would be very cool to have on.
Oh wow,
dude! If Father George agrees to do this, I would love to have you and JT in as well. But let me see if I can have a one-on-one too, because it'll be interesting because we definitely have our own like slight separate beliefs, even though it's shared most of the time. But it would be cool to ask him a lot of questions. Yeah. And yeah, then we can get into that. You and the guys, we can be on one stream and then talk about the spiritual side of ADHD and focus.
Oh yeah, what's Mirage stream?
Mirage stream. Yeah, the sibling stream would be the Murad stream because that's our last name.
Yeah. I'm slow. I'm so slow.
Right. Yeah, wow. Lucas Popin. That's the guy, dude. Dude, he just what a legend. Shout out. Why am I shouting out Lucas? Lucas, you shout me out, please. I need your help.
Shout. Oh, this guy. Yes.
Yeah, dude. He just sits in his car and like shouts at you, gets you into the zone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Oh man, that's fun. That's fun.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah, guys. Flow state. Don't relax at the end of the day, but recover. And you guys should look that up. Look up the difference between relaxation and recovery. Mm-hmm. For those of you who aren't, relaxation is when you go and you sit on a couch at the end of the day, watch Netflix. Recovery is when you go and take a freezing cold shower at the end of the day and spike your nervous system. And what this does, it activates your like survival mode basically in your body. And then you do that over a period of time, you're going to see a lot of things get better. Mm-hmm. And pray for sure. But just praying with no action, it's not going to cut it, guys. But praying is action, but like not just, do some prostrations.
All right. I'll wrap it up with one sentence. All right.
Yeah.
Focus isn't about fighting distractions. It's about giving your attention to what deserves it. So choose what matters. I think that's the conclusion I reached after all of this. Choose what matters. That's all.
Beautiful.
And that's a wrap. Thank you for being here. TikTok, Kick, Twitch is not doing anything, but TikTok, Kick, and YouTube. Thank you guys, all of you. Clash, you should clip it.
That's just clip barbing. Thank you for having me, by the way, bro. I appreciate this.
Dude, a pleasure having you. And guys, I'll drop his Instagram in the description as well. I think it's already there now on
Thank you.
YouTube.
Yeah, you have my personal, but you could just change it to my
The
to
photographer
shooter.
one. Yeah.
I don't really care much for the personal, to be honest.
Yeah. Good stream. Thank you, Denny. Thank you, Subduki, JT, Clash, Anna's here. Can't say your name on Kick, but say it proudly. I'll just say the second part of your name. Thank you for being here. And then for the 4 people on TikTok, which I'm pretty sure there are 3 because I'm one of them. So, all right. I'll say good night, guys. Thanks for being here. Pleasure having you, Simon. Till next one.
Thank you.
How do I end it now? Wait, it's the first time I'm using Streamlabs. There's no end button. Oh, there is. End stream. All right. Goodbye. Hope you have more of these podcasts. Yeah, bro. It would be cool to have more.
Oh my goodness.
It'd be cool to have more.
Yeah, this is like we created kind of the perfect segue into it too. Because this is like the science, and then you go to the spiritual. So it's
Clip the end at Clash. Yeah, please. Okay, here we go. The end stream. Found it. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Good night.